What's up? Welcome back to Nowstalgia. Dave here with a review of Back to Black, the new music biopic film about Amy Winehouse, starring Marisa Abela, directed by Sam Taylor Johnson. We're here with another music biopic film. This is a very tried and true genre. This is a film genre that is very consistent at the box office and often quite critic proof. I mean, just this year, a few months ago, we had the Bob Marley biopic do quite well. Of course, the highs of films like Rocket Man, especially Bohemian Rhapsody. This is a film genre that has a lot of potential, as a famous musician of the past is its own form of IP. Not every music biopic film is a blockbuster, though. The Whitney Houston film from a few years ago didn't do too well. Back to Black has done decent business over in Europe so far and is now opening in the United States in, a summer May slot. Amy Winehouse is certainly a subject for a music biopic film, very deserving, of course, a very easy to foresee story put on the screen. Makes a lot of sense, and the probably most significant musician of that ilk left to get a film will have that answered next year when, of course, the much anticipated, notorious, controversial Michael Jackson biopic film from Anton Fuqua comes out next year. So we will be talking about music biopics for as long as there are pop stars to make them about, I would imagine. Now, Back to Black, though, is coming at an interesting time because it's 9 years after the critically acclaimed Amy documentary about Amy Winehouse that won the Oscar for Best Documentary Feature and was really lauded for its portrayal and storytelling of the Amy Winehouse story, and of course how tragic that was. So any biopic film is going to be compared to something like that, especially when, like many biopics these days, it is being created in conjunction with the estate of the subject. Now, it's one of those push-pull things where if you don't cooperate with the estate, you probably won't be able to license the music, and without the music, your movie will likely be quite lacking. The music is really the number one driver of people to see the film, so it's a tough situation. Unfortunately, Back to Black is quite disappointing. As far as music biopic films go, the Amy Winehouse story makes a lot of sense, but Back to Black is so uninterested in telling the story of Amy Winehouse's musical career and the things she contributed to the world that made people love her. It's really so focused on Amy's domestic life and Amy's, of course, personal struggles with substance abuse, mental health issues, etc. It almost glosses over the highlights of her career. It does not do a good job of communicating her rise to fame. The movie doesn't really communicate the passage of time all that well. It's quite frustrating in that regard. And it's a shame because I think Marisa Abela was really nice casting as Amy Winehouse. I've been a fan of her ever since she kind of came out of nowhere on Industry, and she's great, and she does her own singing. Abela acquits herself well singing Amy Winehouse's songs, even if she can't obviously compare to the kind of one-of-a-kind vocals that was Winehouse in her day. It also stands out quite a bit how this movie really sands down, glosses over some of the issues in the Amy Winehouse story regarding her family, specifically her father, who is portrayed in the film, but a lot of the negative aspects about how he was involved in Amy's career and her life, conveniently not in the film. But more than anything, I wish this actually showed what kind of creator she was. You hear all the plaudits that people would talk about, people that had the privilege of working with her, someone like Mark Ronson, who gets a passing mention in this movie. Mark Ronson spoke about how much he loved working in the studio with Amy. We don't get any studio time. It's really stupid. You get a few montage moments where you see her recording, but there's no substance to the scenes. I think of a film like Bohemian Rhapsody, a classic example of a flawed biopic film, but one that was really popular. You know what's fun about Bohemian Rhapsody? Watching Freddie and the boys sit in the studio and then kind of conveniently come up with the melody to Another One Bites the Dust, something that's almost assumingly completely fictional for the purposes of the film, but you know what it is? It's a fun scene to be with, and it leads up to something you recognize as the viewer, as a fan of that band. Nothing close to that with Back to Black, and we belabor the point of Amy's substance abuse, which is, of course, inextricably linked to everything about her public persona and her career. Of course, you cannot gloss over any of that. But do we really need to see her get a tattoo for the third different time in the movie? It's not adding anything. I thought Jack O'Connell was pretty good as the rakish Blake Fiedler Civil, Amy's eventual husband. I think the scene of when they kind of meet cute at the bar the way that's kind of protracted out as they come together and become attracted to another, leading up to a scene of them playing pool. I actually thought that scene was really good. Probably the best example of Abela and O'Connell having chemistry in the film. I thought that was really fun. Ultimately, though, I feel like we really spun our wheels a lot with the same kind of beats of Amy being a drunk, being very violent in her relationship, especially, and having a hard time dealing with the fame and the paparazzi. But we never get under that surface. And meanwhile, the passage of time between the album Frank and the album Back to Black, it's very fuzzy. We like barely get in the Grammy moment. I wish there was more lead up to the Grammys. I wish there was like just a little bit of like hammering home how successful she was. I mean, Back to Black is the 12th best selling album in UK history. Like, she was absolute megastar in the UK. Not to mention the fact how global she got with the second album. Like, it doesn't communicate any of that, you know? I would have loved some of the label stuff. The fact that, you know, we show the Island Records courtship, but we gloss over the fact that there was actual label bidding where other labels were trying to sign her. Like, there's just a lot of stuff missing. And yeah, it's hard to tell a whole person's complete life in 2 hours, but it's frustrating when you leave things out and then you kind of spin your wheels with the stuff you leave in. I just don't feel like it really pleases any party. And we get a passing mention that Frank was nominated for the Mercury Prize in the UK. Oh yeah, sorry, we can't sell you in the US. Let's keep it moving. Like, I'm sorry, but like, we got to spend more time with the superstar. We got the Nova, the rocket ship. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Overall, though, I think Jack O'Connell and Marisa Abela, they do their best with the material. Abela, in particular, really kind of transforms into Amy Winehouse, I think, as best as anyone can. You know, obviously, Amy Winehouse, very singular figure in pop, you know, during her day, partially due to her kind of throwback appearance, her throwback musical influences and inspirations in terms of really being kind of a singular one-of-one artist, especially at that time. Abela, I think hats off, did a pretty good job. Looking forward to seeing Industry Season 3 on HBO later this year. Jack O'Connell, he's kind of been crushing for a while now, people know. But yeah, Back to Black, this is in the disappointing music biopic bucket. I don't see how it's anything but that. But yeah, let me know, did you like Back to Black more than me? If so, please let me know why. And for more film reviews, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.